It doesn't matter where people go, you can be pretty sure that they're going to take their smartphone with them. Let's face it, smartphones become an intimate part of everyday life for many people, and as such it's become a real opportunity for researchers interested in human behaviour. The smartphone is a small, powerful computer with accurate stimulus delivery and response recording times. It's got dozens of sensors, GPS, temperature, humidity, hand movement recognition. It's even got kind of onboard audio and video recording. In fact, it's got pretty much everything you need, even for a kind of cognitive psychology lab. And that's what we're aiming to do. We've used this kind of technology and we've created an easy way to build experiments so that anyone can create and then deploy experiments across the world to anybody outside of the lab. What we wanted to do was create a way in which researchers could capture data using the smartphone technology in an easy way without having any real technological expertise. So what we've done is we've made it so researchers can make experiments via our web browser system, and then they will, when they've saved that experiment, they'll get an experiment ID. All they have to do is get participants to download PsyApp from Google Play and input the experiment ID for their experiment. As soon as they do that, the experiment that they program will run at the time and place that they programmed it to run on that participant's phone. Once it's done, PsyApp will send the data back to PsyApp servers, and the researcher can just pick up their data from the server without ever having to leave their office. Now, what we've therefore done is we've made it possible for anyone to capture data from any group that have got smartphones across the world. We hope that you'll listen a little bit further and find out more. Hi there, my name is Dr. Adam McNamara. I'm here today to tell you about PsyApp. PsyApp is a data capture smartphone application which allows any non-programmer to easily build an app that can collect data, making full use of the capacities that the smartphone has and all the sensors that come with them. PsyApp was initially developed for psychologists, people like me, but it is applicable to anybody who is interested in capturing human behaviour data, such as if you want to test a new health or pharmacological intervention. It can be used educationally, so you can use it to actually deploy experiments with your students, or as a market research tool. Researchers, both academic and commercial, like lab studies because you can control the environment, but also because of the necessity of a high quality computing equipment and sensors. Now the smartphone with its really light operating system and all those sensors on board is practically a lab in the everyday person's pocket or handbag, and we really want to take advantage of that. Researchers also love to get really kind of targeted populations, so particular age group, particular patient group, particular kind of market sectors, and that can often be very difficult or very expensive, because unless they happen to be students of 18 to 22-year-old, then it can often be very difficult to get them to come into your labs if you're an academic, and a similar problem as if you're a researcher. And well, if you've got your experiment on an app, then it becomes a lot easier to get to those people. So for example, we recently assisted in a study with children in Malawi, in schools in Africa, and they sent out the smartphones to the schools, and the children would kind of do the experiments longitudinally over about a month. Of course, lab studies are really important, but often what we really want to get at is whether the things that we've discovered happen in the lab actually transfer to reality in the real world. Lab studies are very highly controlled, so that it's easy to see an impact with less people. Of course, you're not kind of contained by that if you're using a smartphone, because everyone has their own set of equipment and lab in their pocket. So you can get many thousands of participants, and you can often get more powerful results, and also you can be able to see what the impact of their local environment might have had. So for instance, if you're doing a study on stress, you might be able to look at the difference of whether people in a rural or urban environment, whether they're in their work or home environment, whether they've just had an argument with their spouse, partner, or whatever. This has also already kind of been recognised by the scientific community, but making a bespoke app for a study is really expensive. In reality, research is an iterative process, and often you don't get it right the first time. So if you've developed an app and you've got a bespoke app, and your app developer has gone away, but what you've done isn't just quite right, then you get left with a really useless app, because you needed to change it and you can't, or you can't afford to. With PsyApp, then you create your own experiments, and it's very easy to just change them and redeploy your experiment once you want to kind of tailor your experiment a little bit more. So in summary, we have created a web-based experiment designer which your average bright 12-year-old student could use to make a simple set of questionnaires or a more complex psychological study. The experiments can be set to run at particular times or dates, or even you can set the experiment to run at a particular place. and the researcher makes the experiment online and then gets an experiment ID. PsyApp is an experiment player, if you like. It just plays any kind of experiment that the researcher might have built, and it's free to download, so the participants can download it from Google Play for free. They just have to put in the experiment ID, which your researcher might kind of give to participants either in traditional methods or by social media, and then the researcher can just collect the data online. And that's about it, really. And we'd really like you to kind of have a look and play. Get in contact with us. You can visit us at www.psyapp.co.uk, and we look forward to hearing you. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.